On today's Minute of the Apes, we all discuss our varying strategies on our daily Star Wars battles.
Take your sticking paws off me, you damn dirty ape!
What is the divine bomb?
The only good human is a dead human! Where there is fire, there is smoke.
The minute of the apes. The minute of the apes. The minute of the apes. The minute of the apes.
Hello and welcome to Minute of the Apes, the daily podcast where we break down every minute of the Planet of the Apes movies, 1 minute at a time. I'm Todd. That was Sean, and over there, I think he's playing Star Wars Galaxy Heroes.
I did. You
Is
said
Richard.
it. Now I open it up, and I have it open. This, yeah, I'm doing it now.
I was actually doing my best because I know that the open takes a certain amount of time, and I'm like looking at my clock, and I'm like, how much can I get in?
on today's minute of the Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes.
Yes.
We're all sucked down that path of that silly game.
It's all y'all's fault.
We only got about 2 minutes worth of actual movie left.
A movie itself, not including credits. Yeah,
Right.
We have 4 minutes left to go, but
And
I
it's
think
2
only
minutes
two
movie.
cinematics. Yeah.
Man, we're very near the end. Boy, when you say it like that, it's like, holy crap, how are they going to say everything they need to say and get it done? But
Yeah, how are they going to wrap this up?
everybody hang on, because I think they're going to get it done in the best way they think they can. So, Sean, tell us about minute 84.
All right, we start minute 84 with Caesar and Lisa looking at the humans, and then Lisa saying a new Caesar.
All right, here it comes, minute 84, battle for the Planet of the Apes.
If we appear to be lacking in gratitude, Caesar, what have we to be grateful for? If you mean to set us free, then free us completely.
What do you mean?
We are not your children, Caesar. We have a destiny too. As equals, respecting each other, living together with love.
Love. The human way is violence and death.
Aldo wasn't human. Was he, Caesar?
Virgil, you are a good and wise ape.
And you, Caesar?
As of minute 84, we have a surprisingly alive village worth of apes and humans, plus a much smaller ghost city worth of radioactive people, and no more Aldo.
Visually, a recap, it's pretty easy. It is cross-cutting between the apes, pans over to the humans, back between Caesar and McDonald, Virgil being cut in, back and forth in conversations. Some very nice shots. We have, Caesar very focused, everything thrown out in the back, but there's not a lot visually happening here. There are some weird things, though, with audio that I want to touch on at some point, but go ahead. You can start it.
The minute for me is summed up by the final shot of Virgil where he's trying to look up and all it does is look like one epic eye roll. We're coming back to the plight of the humans. We're trying to close off this particular plot point, and maybe potentially draw parallels to the apes' journey up to this point from the previous 4 films. And it's just a little bit out of nowhere. McDonald kind of making the stand. There's no real conflict here. It's just kind of
I mean, because they were kind of living peacefully to begin with in the beginning. I mean, we didn't see any real conflict between humans and apes. We only saw Aldo being pissed off at them for some reason.
Well, my thought, Richard kind of touches on it a little bit. There's no real conflict here. And when McDonald decides to say, if we don't appear grateful, no one fucking asked you.
Yeah.
No one said you don't look grateful.
And he's kind of aggressive about it.
Yeah.
I mean, we could have spent more time in the pen. We could have spent more time understanding what is going on with these characters to care about why they seem to be living in harmony beforehand.
I mean,
we didn't get the sense that they were, servants a little bit here and there, but not dramatically.
It was
not
more
enough.
in words than not in actions.
From what
Right.
we can tell, the humans were in the pens about the length of the battle. Because they were
which was all about 5 minutes.
Yeah, so
Right.
I mean, they weren't in there very long.
And okay,
Not saying that anybody deserves to be locked up, that it shouldn't be locked up, but in the grand scheme of things, they were put in a circle for half an hour.
And Caesar wasn't the person that was
did it.
responsible for this.
And if anything, if we're going to have McDonald respond to that, let's say that a good way that might have worked with this is they release them, and maybe they don't immediately come out, and Caesar turns to the rest of everyone and says, "We have a lot of work to clean everything up," and they stand back defiantly. He's like, "McDonald, are you going to help?" And he's like, "Why should we? We're not a part of this society." That's more apropos to what he says than this. If we don't appear grateful,
Yeah.
I didn't think you looked ungrateful. I mean, it was like,
Yeah,
what?
it's
I mean, I understand what they're trying to do.
Yes,
I
100%.
understand completely what they're trying to get out of this minute, but the dialogue is a little bit weak. We didn't spend enough time with their plight to have any passion for this exchange that's going on right now. The parallel that Caesar wants to draw between what their society could potentially become, or maybe has become after the last part of the movie, and what the humans were, is again not. It needs to be fleshed out more. I needed more time with these characters to know what's going on. It's almost like if this were supposed to be the summary of the movie here, then I didn't need the mutants at all.
True.
Yeah.
I needed the conflict to happen between these two
humans.
parties.
Well,
Yeah, because technically, when McDonald's is saying, "Hey, we have a destiny together," well, technically, no, you don't. We know what the future holds. It holds you guys eventually becoming mute wild animals out in the fields, and the apes taking over the world.
But at the same time, he doesn't know that, so he would still think he has it. But I want to draw with you, Sean, another link to the future films. The last film has a lot of people within a cage corral type system.
Yeah.
And it to Richard's point, it shows the plight of those characters, being caged and what they have to go through. We don't see anything from the human perspective other than apes poking at them and them recoiling in terror. There are so many stories that could be told here if this were to take place over a long amount of time,
yeah.
that they're thirsty. That, then when the war comes, they're terrified as explosions come near them.
And we have the doctor running around as if she has no. She seems to be
true,
free to do whatever she wants, right, to a certain extent. And other than the conflict that the teacher has with Aldo at the beginning, he seems to be largely okay. There's just some things that the society is not accepting of in terms of language.
I mean, the fact that we have humans actually teaching the apes. There seems like there's no conflict there, except for Aldo just didn't like the teacher.
Right.
You literally have a human doctor, so you're trusting them enough to potentially work on you.
Right.
What conflict is there? I don't know.
There is none.
There is no conflict.
So there was a couple of lines that were kind of taken out. McDonald, when he says, "We are not your children, Caesar, we have a destiny too," he's supposed to say, "Let someone young tell you."
What?
I guess, you talk to the children. And then the doctor's supposed
They are our future.
And the doctor's supposed to chime in, "We want to live our own way, Caesar, a human way, with you, with the apes, but our own way." And then McDonald comes back as equals, which was the voiceover, which was a little weird.
Yeah, that whole insertion.
Each respecting other, living together with love. So it was meant to be there, but this is like a kind of a weird, like a hippie mantra that's kind of suddenly inserted
All
here.
we need is love.
Again, there's a lot of political hot button issues that are happening during this series of movies. And this one is we've complained about it before, but they're throwing a bunch of those here all of a sudden in this moment.
Yeah.
Right. It feels. I know that when we did the original film way back when, we at some point, and I want to say it was in the scene when Taylor went to see Zaius in his little dwelling alone, and they're talking. I think that I brought up, I'm like, holy shit, this film is taking on almost too many subjects. It's almost addressing too many societal problems. If that was a problem, this one is taking on shit that I don't even understand where it's coming from. At least over there, I understood they were bringing it. This is really a hodgepodge of just throw shit and see if we can get something that resonates.
Do you think that maybe we are, as adults, analyzing this deeper than if we were kids?
Well, sure, without question.
If we were kids, these bigger, broader messages would
wash over you.
Would wash over me, but I mean, they might make me think as opposed to trying to make me.
Yes, without question. I think that for a kid, this can have moments, if this gives a child the thought that maybe just because someone's murdered, I shouldn't murder as well. Okay, that's a great thought for that kid to have. But I think that you go look at the Pixar films and how well that they speak to both a child and an adult on
two different levels.
At the same time, one scene can have different levels that you glean something from. This one doesn't have that. It wants to wear its convictions. It wants to create massive sleeves and flap them in the wind so you see it. It is so overbearing that it just becomes clumsy. Now, what I do like is Virgil coming back and almost bitch slapping Caesar about that Aldo was not human. I was like, well, ouch, bitch. That was good.
Yeah, that was a nice zing, right? Hey, by the way, let me remind you of this. The thing that is also we talk about, things we don't want to see Caesar as the kind of lead protagonist do. We still, he's not as smart as I want him to be sometimes. No. Virgil pointing this out, Aldo wasn't human. He Caesar. I mean, it's nice to have somebody remind him of Caesar of that, but I needed more intelligence from Caesar in some of these moments. He wants, if he's supposed to be wise and good, then this wisdom should have come from him.
But I think what could have even been as interesting in this is were Virgil to remind him of that.
Yeah.
And if Caesar were to show humility at that point and say even the best of leaders needs wisdom like this.
Where's Mandemus to be the conscience of the king?
Oh, he's coming.
Yeah.
Get ready.
Well, it's just one of those again where it's not very focused. It's kind of all over the place. There are good messages. I think, Richard, your point to what this could mean to a kid. I remember as a child watching this when I did, it having meaning that war was not worth it. Battle for the Planet of the Apes, that the war was not what was needed. Joining together and being one was what was needed. Boy, but as an adult, you're right. It doesn't exactly say that. Because, by the way, we still use guns and we need guns. And
well, I mean,
then we kill our enemies. And
definitely in the next minute is where we're going to talk about a little bit more of that.
Yeah. Sean, you got anything else?
No, that's it for me.
I know when Sean goes quiet, I ask it to be polite, but I know he does. If Sean has something to say, he'll say it.
I'll say it.
All right. That's it. We'll be back tomorrow, minute 85. Until then, everyone have a great day.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
The minute of the apes.